This edition of Mac Voices is sponsored by Casper, a better mattress for a better night's sleep. To find out more, try one for 100 days and get a $50 discount. Visit casper.com/MacVoices.
Mac Voices is at CES in Las Vegas. I'm Chuck Joyner. We're back to talk annually, as we do, with Mr. John Grzeskowiak of RadTech about everything that they're showing. John, it's great to see you.
Great to see you, Chuck. How you doing?
I'm doing great. We get to come to San Francisco. We get to come to Las Vegas every year. We don't do San Francisco anymore.
And I remember having to talk you into coming to this show.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
You were a little hard to convince, right?
I was. You were right. You were right. It's a great show, and you see a lot of people you know and make new friends.
It's the only place to really see everything.
And there are a lot of toys.
And then some.
RadTech has always been a company very much driven by engineering, and some of the products you're showing here today, I think, just again reflect that where you come from. That you're very, very practical, very thought out, as opposed to just slapping something up against the wall and seeing if it sticks.
Exactly, solving problems. I mean, that's the thing that we're into. People come to us and tell us their problems, and we try to solve them for them. And sometimes we wind up doing that on a large scale for a lot of people, but we even do that for individuals. If somebody comes to us and they're trying to make something happen, we'll help them with it, and usually we'll succeed. So
let's talk about what you're showing this year, because you've got a lot of those things that you're solving problems with your products.
Yep. Okay, so we just want to jump into it. And
let's go for it.
Okay, so I kind of hold this up to the camera, and hopefully folks can see this. So one of the things missing from the Apple Pencil, of course, is a pocket clip and a way to stow it. So we've got this simple device, and this is just kind of a 3D printed rendition of it, because we're actually molding the finished version as we speak. But this gives you, adds a pocket clip to your Apple Pencil. It has a kind of a lightning port male slug here, so you can stow it on the iPad itself when you're not using it. And it will work, with most cases. And if your iPad Pro is angled, as most people would tend to use them, you can lay your pencil on the surface and it won't roll off. So kind of tackling 3 issues with this particular product.
And I have to ask about the lightning port. So obviously it's made of plastic, so it's not going to do any damage to the lightning port or stress the port out at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. This the final version is made from polycarbonate, so it's soft, yet it won't fracture. So you never have to worry about breaking it off in the lightning port. Polycarbonate can take a lot of flexing before it will fracture. So
I like this. I mean, it solves the problem of attaching it, but not attaching it, not adding something bulky to your very nice new iPad Pro.
Oh yeah, and it's very lightweight, so it's not going to throw off the balance of the pencil. And actually, I've used this with the pencil, and it's actually kind of nice because in your hand, that little tab there, you can kind of rest it up against your finger, and it just sort of gives you a better grip on it. And that's why we put the grip in the name, so Pencil Grips. Yeah, so yeah, we think folks will like it,
I would think so. What kind of pricing before we skip off on this?
I think we're probably going to be at $8 to $10 on this. Yeah, so.
All right, so that's one.
That's product number 1. Second product is a warranted for life line of cables, and we did Lightning first. And we didn't take this lightly, but this is something that people for the last several years actually have been sort of complaining to us about, and we've done cables for a few years, and we, of course, have learned a lot about making cables last, but we think we've got it now. So this has been about 14 months in development. We've been testing it for a full year with a lot of folks, and this is called the Pro Cable UHD, stands for Ultra Heavy Duty. And we're bringing out first in a Lightning version, and then we'll be doing USB-C and micro USB. And this cable is super tough. I mean, in the last 11 months, we haven't had a single cable break. So we think we've got it. And if it breaks, we're going to replace it. So people don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, lifetime warranty on a cable these days. I mean, some people I'm sure are going to look at this and say, why are you spending so much time on a cable? Cables are expensive. They break at the worst possible times, always, and then you're kind of out of luck.
exactly. And you know, some people are harder on cables than others, but some people go through a cable like every 4 to 6 weeks, believe it or not. So, you know.
And that starts to mount up in dollars.
Exactly. Another thing we did while, you know, when we were testing this, we actually tested this with like 2 trucking companies, and you know, they were just part of our test group. And one of the things that they complained about was, you know, at first we made the connectors sort of the same size as, you know, your typical lightning cable, and you know, they found them very hard to deal with. They were slippery and they were hard to grab and use, especially when wearing gloves, like a lot of people do. So we made the connectors a little oversized. So they're longer, a little bit fatter. It's more of a non-slip surface on them. This is actually wrapped in aluminum. So one of the tests we did, because you know, one of the fail points in early testing was people would slam these in car and truck doors and just, you know, blast them apart basically. So this can withstand that. You can slam this in a door all day long and nothing's going to happen to it. I absolutely guarantee that. I mean, that was one of the things that we, you know, specifically tested. So.
You don't encourage it, but it'll survive it.
It will survive, yeah. So if you're looking for a really tough and durable lightning cable or USB-C, micro USB down the line, this is it. Another thing we do, it's double shielded, and it uses a 20 gauge power lead. So we're going to do 18-inch, 6-foot, and 10-foot, but maybe later we'll actually do some longer lengths, because the 20 gauge wire actually allows us to go probably all the way up to 20 foot without any line loss in the cable. So
10 feet, 20 feet, that's a lot of cable for an iPad or an iPhone or whatever. Any particular use cases you're seeing that are driving those lengths?
Well, a lot of people we talk to use their devices in bed or on the couch. And when you think about how far the closest outlet is when you're on your couch or in bed, easily 10 foot.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I was kind of surprised myself, and initially we thought about going longer than 10 for the longest version, and I decided on 10, you know, out of the gate, but like I said, we could easily scale to 20 foot on this with the size cable we're using.
So if you need 20 feet, call John.
Yep, absolutely, we'll do it. Probably the next production. I would envision at the rate these have pre-sold, we'll probably have folks that will want to do longer lengths, or will want longer lengths. Yeah.
What kind of pricing on the lengths you have now? What'd you say, the 18, 10, 3 and 10?
So $12.95 for the 18-inch, $16.95 for the 6-foot, and $24.95 for the 10-foot. So pretty reasonable.
Yeah, actually a lot more reasonable than I sort of would have thought with all the engineering that went into it.
Right. Yep.
Okay. All right, so there's problem number 2 solved.
Yep. We try to be sensitive on price. You know, I know it's, you know, people are really considering that. You know, we're not the most expensive cable, and, you know, we've got a lifetime warranty, so.
Yeah, and that's no small thing, because if you do slam it in a door and somehow manage to really damage it, they get a new one.
Right. So I think it's a good value for our customers. So.
Good deal. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, we have...
Another thing I'll show you, and I'll actually show you this on my phone, but it's called the turtle shell, and this is kind of a joint venture we're doing with someone, and we've done that in the past. If you remember the Mac truck case, that was sort of a joint venture. Someone had the idea and came to us, and we just helped them, you know, kind of push it forward. But this is a case that includes a charge cable right on the case. So USB ports are pretty ubiquitous nowadays, but charging cables are not. So you could be right next to a USB port, but if you don't have a cable, it's not doing you any good. So this is kind of nice. I thought it was a good idea to actually house the cable in the case, and it's very tough. It's lightweight. Back is polycarbonate, so again, tough components. And I'm not sure about the price point on this yet. This will hit the market within a couple of weeks. Starting with the 5.5S version, 6 and 6 Plus will follow shortly after that. But
I think we've hit a tipping point of some kind in cases, because now we're getting away from just colors and decals and bling and all that, and now we're seeing more and more cases that actually have a function to them of one kind. And this is a great function, because you're right. How many of us are right now, we're carrying around some of the small chargers in our pockets, but you're having to carry that cable around with it, and so that just makes, you know, this big pocket that full of stuff that I really don't want, but I need.
And I'll tell you a funny story. I've actually been, testing this case and using it for several months. And I was in a situation where I was by a USB port. I was very low, on battery. And I forgot that I had a cable with me, and I was like, oh man, I'm going to run out here. And I had the cable with me the whole time. So it does take a little training to remember that you've got a cable. So, yeah. So I think it's pretty cool. I like this. It's called the turtle shell. Another, I think, an important feature is it's made in the U.S. So
Always important, and I know especially to RadTech, I know you have very much had that philosophy whenever possible.
Right. So, yeah. So we're excited about that.
You might, just to help people like you might consider selling like a small piece of string to put around your finger with it, so that
you have a cable.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe a ring that's a lightning cable.
There you go. There you go. Okay. So
might have just come up with something.
work on that for next year. I'll see you right back here.
Yeah, jewelry that's actually functional.
Bracelets, necklaces,
Wow. All right.
fashioned by John Grzeskowiak.
I love this process.
Oh, lots of other cool stuff here, John. There's so much stuff here.
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of this stuff before, so I just kind of wanted to touch on like what's really new. I will say, I kind of stress to folks, Wave Jammer, very popular product for us. If pristine audio is your thing, and you've got some old computer speakers or one of these old, sound systems, especially if they have a 30-pin port, although it's not required, this works with anything. In your car, you've got an aux port, in your dash. Wave Jammer is a great way to wirelessly bring pristine quality music to your surroundings. So,
I want you to talk about one more, and that's the charger, because because I think that this is a great idea, and this is one of those things that I would throw in my bag, especially for travel to shows like CES.
Yep. So the AC power, and actually let's cover both because we do, for the home and for the car and plane. So these chargers are designed to be extremely lightweight, and I'll talk about the benefits of each. So the AC power, blades fold, easily fits in your purse or your backpack or your pocket. Very lightweight, which we strive on all our products because we know you're carrying this stuff. But one of the great features of the AC power is, a lot of times furniture covers up your outlets, so you have to pull a dresser or a table or something, away from the wall to get your charger in there. This charger only extends out from the wall about 5/8 of an inch. So, you can plug this in, hook your cables up, push your furniture back, nearly flush with the wall. Usually wouldn't go any closer than 5/8 with a piece of furniture anyway. So you're getting maximum use of your floor space. You've got a charger there that's, fully accessible and, very high power. So, charge full to 2 devices fully, and, you can use them while they're charging. The auto version. Yep. What's unique about our charger is it has a circuit breaker inside instead of a fuse or a fusible link. And I'll talk about the differences. A lot of car chargers have a fuse, and you unscrew the end to change the fuse if the fuse blows. But those fuses are very hard to find. And if you're on the road and the fuse blows, what a drag. You're dead in the water. Other chargers have what's called a fusible link, which is just a piece of wire that's designed to basically burn through if it encounters, an overcurrent situation. Those are disposable. We use a circuit breaker, so if there's any kind of fault on either side, on the vehicle side or on the device side, circuit breaker opens up. You just unplug it for 2 seconds, plug it back in, and the circuit breaker resets. So it's never dead in the water. You'll never be stranded with this charger.
So there's no manual reset or anything. It automatically resets as soon as they pull it out.
Yep, exactly.
That is very nice.
It's a very handy feature. Now, yes, it is a little bit larger, but think about the implication of having the disposable charger, which we think is like terrible for the environment. And a lot of them are that way now. They're not using fuses, they're using the links, and you just throw them away. You'll have this charger forever. And this is warranted for life as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
All of our chargers, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, and that's, again, that's not a small thing. That's something to keep in mind. If you're spending the money, it doesn't hurt to have a a full charge.
Yeah, like, until it happens to them and you're stranded. Yeah, so this can be a real lifesaver. So.
And again, when it happens, it always happens at the worst possible time.
Exactly.
I don't know how that happens, but it does.
Right. And I'll tell you, any car charger you buy at a gas station is a disposable model. Seriously, it has the fusible link. And honestly, about 80% of the chargers out there are using fusible links now. So they are disposable. So
Pricing on those 2 units?
$995.
For the car?
For both.
Oh, for both?
Yeah, for either one, $995 for both. $995 for the AC, $995 for the DC. This can also be used in an aircraft. So with a 24-volt power system, like a small GA aircraft. That was something that people came to us and said, hey, love your charger, but I need something for my plane. It's 24-volt electrical system. So about 3 or 4 years ago, we revised the electronics so it will work from 12 to 24 volts. So, yeah.
Great set of new products along with a great set of legacy products.
Exactly.
The website where folks can go to get all this stuff.
RadTech.com. We are officially .com now.
You're officially.com.
We've had the domain for many years. We just officially switched over about a month ago. So.
But I would guess that radtech.us still will go there.
Yeah, actually, RadTech. A lot of things will forward to .com, but yeah. So.
John, it's great to see you. Thanks so much.
Same here, Chuck.
I will look forward to the Lightning Ring next year.
All right, and bracelets.
All right. Bracelets. Folks, we'll have more from CES in Las Vegas. I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices. Visit MacVoices.com for links, show notes, to subscribe, to connect with Chuck on Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the MacVoices blog. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, the MacVoices Dispatch, to stay up to date on all the latest MacVoices news from our front page or at macvoices.com/newsletter. Do more with your Apple tech by subscribing to the free MacVoices Magazine on Flipboard by visiting macvoices.com/magazine. Advertising and sponsorships handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.